Hello and welcome back. My name is Urshid Ayub. Today we'll talk about another very important topic, some useful conversational statements in which I'm going to share you the best conversational statements wherein you can, practice and you can implement in your daily conversation. And you sound like a native if you use these conversational statements in your daily conversation. All right, now let us jump right straight to the presentation without wasting time. But before that, guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and hit the like button at the end of the video if you like the video, and share with your friends, family members, and other people as well. All right, let's jump right straight to the presentation, guys. So let's start. So here are some useful conversational statements that you can practice. Now the first statement is, "Hi, how are you doing today?" This is a great way to start a conversation and show that you are interested in the other person. What have you been up to lately? This is a good follow-up question to the first one, and it can help you to and can help you get to know the other person better. That's interesting. Could you tell me more about it? This statement shows that you are actively listening and engaged in the conversation. I completely understand how you feel. This is a good way to show empathy and support for the other person. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat what you just said? This statement shows that you are paying attention and interested in what the other person has to say. That's a good point. Have you considered? This statement shows that you respect the other person's opinion and are willing to consider their ideas. It was nice meeting you. Let's stay in touch. This is a good way to end a conversation and show that you are interested in maintaining a connection with the other person. What do you think about? This is a good way to start a discussion about a particular topic and get the other person's opinion. That's a good question. Let me think about it for a moment. This statement shows that you take the other person's question seriously and are willing to give them a thoughtful response. I'm sorry, I don't know much about that. Could you tell me more? This statement shows that you are honest and humble, and it can lead to an interesting conversation where you can learn something new. I agree with you on that point, but have you considered? This is a good way to acknowledge the other person's perspective while also offering a different point of view. That's a great idea. How can I help you make it happen? This statement shows that you are supportive and willing to offer assistance, which can strengthen your relationship with the other person. I'm sorry if I came across the wrong way. That wasn't my intention. This statement shows that you take responsibility for your words and actions and are willing to apologize if necessary. Thank you for sharing that with me. It's been really thoughtful. This is a good way to show appreciation for the other person's contribution for the conversation. I am interested in learning more about your experience with. This is a good way to show that you are genuinely curious about the other person's expertise or background. That's a great point. Can you give me an example of what you mean? This statement shows that you are actively engaged in the conversation and want to better understand the other person's perspective. I really appreciate your honesty. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. This is a good way to show empathy and support for the other person, particularly if they have shared something personal or difficult. Let's agree to disagree. I respect your opinion. Even if I don't fully agree with it, this is a good way to acknowledge differences of opinion without being dismissive or disrespectful. I am sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please continue. This statement shows that you are respectful of the other person's time and space to express their thoughts. That's a good question. Let me look at that. Let me look that up and get back to you. This is a good way to show that you are interested in finding the right answer and are willing to follow up with the other person. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me. It's been really nice getting to know you. This is a good way to show gratitude for the other person's time and effort in having a conversation with you. I am curious what inspired you to pursue that interest. This is a good way to learn more about the other person's motivation and passions. I completely understand where you are coming from. I had a similar experience myself. This statement shows that you can relate to the other person's perspective and can help build a rapport. That's a really interesting idea. Have you ever thought about taking it to the next level? This is a good way to encourage the other person's creativity and can lead to a more in-depth conversation. I'm sorry, I don't think I explained that well. Let me try again. This statement shows that you are committed to being clear and concise in your communication. It sounds like you are going through a difficult time. Is there anything I can do to support you? This is a good way to show empathy and offer assistance to someone who may be struggling. I'm not sure I understand. Could you explain that in a different way? This statement shows that you are actively engaged in the conversation and want to make sure you understand the other person's point of view. Thank you for sharing your perspective with me. It's given me a lot to think about. This is a good way to show appreciation for the other person's contribution to the conversation and can help foster further discussion. That's an interesting point. Can you tell me more about why you think that way? This statement shows that you are interested in learning more about the other person's perspective and can lead to more in-depth conversation. I really appreciate your feedback. It's always good to get a fresh perspective. This is a good way to show gratitude for the other person's input and can help build a strong relationship. I'm not sure I agree with you, but I appreciate your willingness to have a thoughtful conversation about it. This statement shows that you can respectfully disagree with someone while still valuing their input. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Could you please tell me again? This statement shows that you are attentive and interested in getting to know the other person. That's a really interesting point. I hadn't thought about it that way before. This is a good way to show that you are open to new ideas and can help expand your thinking. I'm sorry if I'm monopolizing the conversation. What do you think about? This statement shows that you are self-aware and willing to give the other person a chance to contribute to the conversation. It was great talking to you. Let's catch up again soon. This is a good way to end a conversation on a positive note and can help foster a stronger relationship. I'm really impressed by your knowledge on this topic. Can you recommend any resources to learn more about it? This statement shows that you value the other person's expertise and are interested in expanding your own knowledge. I completely understand where you're coming from. It's a challenging situation. This is a good way to show empathy and validate the other person's feelings. I appreciate your willingness to share your perspective with me. It's given me a lot to think about. This is a good way to show gratitude for the other person's input and can help build a stronger relationship. I'm sorry if I am being I'm sorry if I am being unclear. Can you let me know if you need more, if you need me to explain anything in more detail? This statement shows that you are committed to clear communication and to make sure the other person understands what you're saying. That's a great idea. Have you thought about how you might put it into action? This is a good way to encourage the other person's creativity and can lead to a more in-depth conversation. I am not familiar with that topic. Could you explain it to me? This statement shows that you are open to learning from the other person and can help you expand your knowledge. Thanks for chatting with me. It was really nice to meet you. This is a good way to end a conversation on a positive note and can help leave a good impression on the other person. That's a great point. I never thought about it that way before. This is a good way to show that you are open to new ideas and can help expand your thinking. I'm sorry if I interrupted you. Please go ahead and finish what you were saying. This statement shows that you are respectful of the other person's time and contributions to the conversation. I agree with you some point. Agree with you on some point. But I think there are also some areas where we might disagree. This is a good way to acknowledge common ground while also recognizing differences in opinion. That's a really interesting story. Can you tell me more about how it happened? This statement shows that you are interested in learning more about the other person's experiences and can lead to a more in-depth conversation. I appreciate your honesty. It can be difficult to admit when we are wrong. This is a good way to show that you value integrity and can help build trust with the other person. I'm sorry, I don't know much about the topic. Could you tell me more? This statement shows that you are humble and willing to learn from the other person. It was really nice to meet you. I would love to stay in touch and continue the conversation. This is a good way to end a conversation on a positive note and can help foster a strong relationship. That's a good point. I can see how you came to that conclusion. This is a good way to acknowledge someone's opinion without necessarily agreeing with it. I appreciate you sharing your experience with me. It's given me a lot to think about. This is a good way to show gratitude for the other person's input and can help build a strong relationship. I'm not sure I understand. Can you explain that to me again in simpler terms? This statement shows that you are committed to clear communication and want to make sure you fully understand what the other person is saying. That's a really interesting topic. Have you read any good books or articles on it? This is a good way to show that you are interested in learning more and can lead to more in-depth conversation. I'm sorry, I think I misspoke earlier. What I meant to say was, well, this statement shows that you are willing to admit mistakes and can help avoid misunderstandings. I think we might have different perspectives on this issue. Can you tell me more about why you think that way? Well, this is a good way to acknowledge differences in opinion while also showing a willingness to learn more. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with me. I am going to take some time to think about everything we have discussed. Well, this is a good way to end a conversation on a positive note and can help you process what you have learned. I'm really enjoying this conversation. It's been great talking with you. This is a good way to express your appreciation for the conversation and can help build a positive rapport. That's a really interesting perspective. Can you tell me more about how you came to that conclusion? This statement shows that you are curious and interested in learning more about the other person's thought process. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Could you tell me again? This statement shows that you are attentive and interested in getting to know the other person better. I completely agree with you on that. In fact, I've had a similar experience myself. This is a good way to find common ground with the other person and can help build a connection. I'm not sure I agree with that. Can you tell me more about why you think that way? This statement shows that you are willing to listen to other perspectives and can help foster a healthy debate. That's a great idea. How do you think we could put it into action? This is a good way to encourage brainstorming and can lead to a more collaborative conversation. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me. Let's catch up again soon. This is a good way to end our conversation on a positive note and can help establish a continued relationship. I'm really interested in learning more about your perspective. Can you share some more details with me? This is a good way to show that you are open-minded and curious about the other person's thoughts and opinions. I'm sorry, I don't think I understand what you mean. Could you explain it to me in a different way? This statement shows that you're committed to clear communication and want to make sure you fully understand what the other person is saying. That's a really thoughtful point. I hadn't considered it that way before. This is a good way to show that you are open to new ideas and can help expand your thinking. I can see where you are coming from, but I think there might be another way to look at it. This statement shows that you are willing to engage in a healthy debate and can lead to a more productive conversation. It's been great thinking with you. It's been great talking with you, but I have to go now. Let's continue this conversation another time. This is a good way to end a conversation on a positive note and can help establish a continued relationship. I'm not sure I agree with you, but I appreciate your perspective and the opportunity to hear your thoughts. This statement shows that you respect the other person's opinion, even if you don't share it. That's a really interesting idea. I am going to take some time to think about it more. This is a good way to show that you are engaged in a conversation and can help you process what you have learned. I really appreciate your perspective on this topic. It's given me a lot to think about. This is a good way to show that you value the other person's opinion and can help deepen your understanding of a topic. I can relate to what you are saying. I have had a similar experience myself. This statement shows that you can empathize with the other person and can help build a connection. That's a great point. Have you considered the potential drawbacks of the approach? This statement shows that you are open to considering different perspectives and can help generate a more balanced discussion. I'm not sure I am following you. Could you clarify that for me? This statement shows that you are committed to understanding the other person's point of view and can help ensure clear communication. I really appreciate your time and willingness to chat with me. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. This is a good way to show gratitude and can help end a conversation on a positive note. I think we may have to agree to disagree on this one. But I'm glad we had the chance to talk about it. This statement shows that you respect the other person's opinion, even if you don't share it. That's a really an interesting perspective. I'd love to hear more about how you arrive at that conclusion. This statement shows that you're curious and interested in learning more about the other person's thought process. I think you bring up some really valid points. Would you be willing to expound on that further? This statement shows that you are actively listening and interested in the other person's thoughts. I agree with what you're saying, and I also think that this statement shows that you are able to build on the other person's ideas and add to the conversation. I can definitely see how you would feel that way. Have you considered approaching the situation from a different angle? This statement shows that you are empathetic and want to help the other person find a solution. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Could you give me an example? This statement shows that you are open to learning and want to fully understand the other person's perspective. That's really interesting topic. What do you think the implication of that could be? This statement shows that you are interested in exploring a topic in depth and can help generate a more thought-provoking conversation. I appreciate your feedback. Is there anything you think I could have done differently in that situation? This statement shows that you are open to constructive criticism and willing to improve yourself. It sounds like you've had some really challenging experiences. Would you like to talk about it more? This statement shows that you are empathetic and want to provide support to the other person. I completely understand where you are coming from. In my experience, I've found that this statement shows that you can relate to the other person's perspective while also offering your own thoughts or your own insights. That's really interesting perspective. I have never thought about it that way before. This statement shows that you are open to new ideas and can help generate a more diverse discussion. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue. This statement shows that you are respectful of the other person's time and opinions. I think it's important to consider both the short-term and long-term effects of this decision. What do you think? This statement shows that you are a strategic thinker and can help generate a more well-rounded conversation. I really appreciate your honesty about that. It takes courage to share something like that. This statement shows that you value vulnerability and can help build trust in the conversation. That's a really valid concern. Let's brainstorm some potential solution together. This statement shows that you are a collaborative problem solver and can help generate creative ideas. I think we have different opinions on this topic, but I still respect you as a person and value our conversation. This statement shows that you can disagree with someone while still maintaining a respectful and positive relationship. I'm curious what led you to that conclusion. This statement shows that you are interested in understanding the other person's thought process and can help deepen the conversation. I hear what you are saying, but have you considered the potential drawbacks of that approach? This statement shows that you are able to challenge ideas in a constructive way and can help generate a more unanswered discussion. Generate a more nuanced discussion. I appreciate you sharing your experiences with me. It helps me understand your perspective better. This statement shows that you value the other person's input and can help build rapport in the conversation. I think we might have a misunderstanding. Would you clarify what you meant by that? This statement shows that you are willing to address potential conflicts or miscommunication in a respectful way. That's a really thought-provoking question. Let me take a moment to think about my answer. This statement shows that you are willing to take the time to give a thoughtful response and can help create a more meaningful conversation. I'm not sure I agree with you, but I am interested in hearing more about your perspective. This statement shows that you can have a constructive dialogue with someone with whom you have differing opinions. Thank you for sharing your feedback with me. I'll definitely take that into consideration going forward. This statement shows that you value constructive criticism and can help you improve in the future. I think it's important to find a balance between X and Y. What do you think? This statement shows that you are a critical thinker who values multiple perspectives. I am so glad you brought that up. It's an important topic that often goes overlooked. This statement shows that you value diverse opinions and can help create a more inclusive conversation. I apologize if I came across the wrong way earlier. I didn't mean to offend you. This statement shows that you are accountable for your actions and can help repair any potential damage in the conversation. I'm struggling to understand your point of view. Can you explain it to me again? This statement shows that you are willing to admit when you don't understand something and can help clarify any confusion in the conversation. I agree with some of what you're saying, but I also think we need to consider some potential challenges. This statement shows that you can offer a balanced perspective and can help generate a more nuanced conversation. So having said this, we have completed all the most useful, conversational statements. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please do hit the like button and share this with your friends, family members, and other people as well. And I thank you so very much for watching. Have a great day and take care. Bye for now.